I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, reflecting on how many friendships I had that did not go well. Friendships that fell off, that never went nowhere. People that used me, took advantage of me, made me feel less significant, less important, not valued, making me feel as though that I don't belong. And I've had plenty of friends that I had those underlining feelings of not belonging. You see, for me, I can't recall having a real friend ever in my life. And you see, when I'm talking about this, man, when I say I have no friends, I'm not capping, bruh. You have some people, they always say I'm 28, I'm 35, I have no friends. That seems to be the popular thing to say on social media. Oh, I'm 25 and I have no friends. But they do. What they're not telling you is they do have some friends, right? They have a couple of good friends. They're just saying that for views. It see You see, here's the thing, right? It don't matter if I post this video by me saying that I have no friends. Because I'm not saying it for the algorithm. I'm not saying it because it's social media and it's a cool thing to say. I'm saying it because it's real life. I'm saying it because there's a lack of community in today's world. There is no sense of belonging. Now, for me, where I'm at, I don't live in a particular favorable town, city, where people are just ultra friendly. That's not my surroundings. For the most part, I've been around a lot of disrespectful, um, low quality of character based people that they had no qualities about them. Nothing really positive about being around them. And if I'm talking a little bit funny, it's because I'm dealing with allergies right now. Um, my nose is kind of clogged up. My sinuses are kind of blocked. So you got to excuse me for that. Just dealing with a whole bunch of allergies. But when I really say I have no friends, I mean that shit. And you see, like, it doesn't matter if I'm a good person because I vividly remember going out of my way for people. And I get it. You may look at my face, you may look at my expression sometimes, and you may think to yourself, yeah, that's not someone that I would want to talk to. That's not a friendly person. He looks angry, he looks bitter, he looks miserable all the time. I get it. I probably get those secretly a lot by people that don't say it to my face. But I've had a lot of people tell me, you got to smile more. Uh, they always ask me, why don't you ever smile? And it's like, if I were to do that, then it would be fake. Because there is never really a reason for me to smile in the first place. And so there just wasn't a lot of happy moments in my life. When I grew up, I was just around a lot of negative, toxic people, um, around the wrong influences in my life. And hanging out with certain people, it led to me, like there's a particular instance where I was hanging out with this friend, like a family friend. Um, you know, was she was kind of close for a while. I was about 12 or 13. Um, and we went to the beach, me and this friend, right? And I almost lost my life that day. We were in the water, right? And we were going into the section of the beach where there was just a lot of currents, a lot of current waves. The waves where it's like it's hard to stay afloat of the water. Um, you have to be a really good swimmer to to survive those waves. Otherwise, if you're not a good swimmer, they'll just pull you in, right? Because you don't have enough strength or power to combat those waves. They're very powerful. And if you're not a good swimmer, like a real good swimmer, it will pull you in, right? And that's kind of what happened with me. I found myself barely able to breathe, and I was having a hard time keeping my head afloat. And I just remember I kept sinking down, sinking down. The water, the waves were just so strong, and it was just compacting my body, and I felt like I was losing oxygen. You know, like I couldn't breathe for a period, and it felt like I was gonna die. In that moment, I felt like my life was gonna be over. And this was 13 years old. Um, and eventually, we she managed to pull me out, right? And because I was fighting myself, like I wasn't just the friend that was trying to pull me out. I was actively fighting against those currents and trying to swim above the water to stay afloat. So I was fighting like hell for my life that day. And through the grace of the Most High, he saved me, you know, and that friend at that time, right? And you may be thinking to yourself, well, she helped save your life, that friend. Yeah, she did. But that situation could have been avoided. You know what I mean? That could have been all avoided. The point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that when you hang out with certain people, like sometimes certain things happen that's not supposed to happen. Like, you ever hang out with certain people and it's like certain situations occur that out of the blue, it's like you're thinking to yourself, why did that just happen? And see, you don't really put the pieces together in that moment because you just think that's your friend. Y'all cool, y'all kicking it and all that stuff. But sooner or later, you're going to put the pieces together and realize, like, listen, there's just certain things that happen because that person is around you. And it's usually a negative spirit that's on that person that could be the reason why certain things are happening. I'm not saying this is happening all the time, but like it's just the timing of things, and it's like just the circumstance. It just seems very abnormal. You know what I mean? Like this should not be happening. But it's only when you're around certain people, it's when things don't go well. It's like, how do I explain this? Because I'm really trying not to sound crazy when I'm saying this because I've had a lot of experiences with certain friends that whenever I'm around them or I hang out with them, it's like, damn, something happens around me or to me that's negative. And there was a point in time where I was really, really sick. And I've never been this sick before a day in my life. Usually I get a cold, strep throat, a headache. That's the least I will get. Um, this particular time that I got sick was around 2 weeks. I remember hanging out with this friend of mine. We were kind of like training with one another, you know what I'm saying? Kind of sparring, like, fighting somewhat. And I just go home, right? We depart. I go home and I just feel off. Like once I was hanging out with my friend, I wasn't feeling at all, no type of sickness, no symptoms, nothing. Like I was fine, perfect. Once I got home, I started getting strep throat. I started having like inflamed lungs. My lungs were inflamed. I felt kind of drowsy, some joint pain and whatnot, and I began to feel kind of weird. Like, okay, I must be getting a cold. And then I wake up. It's time to go to school early in the morning. Once I get to school, my condition gets a lot worse. I start getting headache, migraines. Now I'm feeling nauseous. And I still have the cold, right? So I don't know what's beginning to develop here. And then I'm just so sick to a point where I can't even function right in school. By the time I got to the second period class, I think it was gym class, I think, and I just decided I'm going to go home. Like, I got to call my mom, not feeling good. Um, I just don't feel right. And like I said, I don't normally get sick like this at that time. So I was pretty much bedridden for a couple days. Went to the hospital, had to get checked out. Was there for quite a while, and it turned out that I had tonsillitis and bronchitis, which, yeah, any of those two, or getting both of them, that's a difficult situation. Like that's not fun at all. getting tonsillitis or bronchitis. Yeah, that's not fun. I was terribly sick for like 2 whole weeks. Didn't go to school. You know what I mean? Couldn't be around nobody like that. So it was miserable. So it just ties back into the type of company that you keep. It's like things are happening to you or around you and you don't know why. And then I just kind of put the pieces together and figure out, wait a minute, this occurrence could be happening because I'm hanging out with this person. This person's really not bringing me um no joy, no like happiness, nothing positive, right? And it's like, why do I get bad luck when I'm hanging out with certain people, you know? And I can go on. Like, I have more stories to tell. But the instance where I almost drowned and lost my life, and then hanging out with this other friend, I wound up sick for 2 weeks. Unusually, never been sick like that a day in my life. I swear. It's like, now that I have no friends, um, I'm getting closer to the Most High, building a relationship with Him, and I still deal with loneliness from time to time. And I'll be lying to you if I wasn't dealing with that at all. It gets difficult sometimes. You feel like you're underappreciated. You feel like you have no value, and it doesn't matter how much of a good person you are, how much you do for people. You feel insignificant. You feel like nobody wants to hear from you. You feel like you start getting into your head type shit, thinking like people will be better off without me. You know what I mean? Like if I died tomorrow, nobody would care if I left, right? If I passed away. You know what I mean? Like certain intrusive thoughts start coming to the surface. You start thinking the worst of yourself because you're alone. And that's one of the challenges that comes with having no friends, because you think low of yourself. And because you've had bad experiences, you don't really trust a lot of people like that, and maybe it's a cursed thing hanging out with certain people. And maybe it's God trying to tell you, or, you know what I'm saying, you ain't supposed to hang out with that person. But you don't know any better. You know what I mean? Because we all want friends. We all want to feel like we belong. So I've gotten to a point where I feel underappreciated. And at the same time, there is there's a feeling of peace, but at times there's no peace because sometimes you don't know where you stand with people. And it kind of messes up your mind a little bit because you know you're a good person. You know that you could be there for people when they need you, and I've been there for people when they needed me the most. So you just start thinking to yourself, maybe I'm in the wrong environment, you know? And then you go to work. There's no such thing as work friends. And you just do your daily rigmarole and get the job done and clock out. No social life at the job for me, that's for sure. But nowadays, I feel like I'm invisible. Even back then, I felt like I was invisible, but I still had so-called friends that I talk to, you know. But there are friends, right, that you hang out with them and they make you feel alone. They make you feel insignificant, like you're invisible. And if you know what that feeling is like, it's not a good feeling. So I'm just making this video to be honest, to be transparent, let y'all know. Um, this is kind of a down time for me because these are emotions that are coming to the surface, like real feelings. And certain friends that I had in the past, it felt like there was just a curse that was on my life. And trust me and believe I have more things to tell, but I don't want to be on here very long. So for me, this is real life. This isn't to like garner a whole bunch of viewers for social media. Right? Like I don't live in social media, I live in the real world. And in the real world where I'm at, there is no community. Okay? There is no sense of belonging at all.